Hello all. In this video, we will talk about integration of the Okta identity provider with a Python dummy service provider. Uh, then we will be constructing a dummy SAML request, and it will be, you can inspect the response, which is not exactly shown in this video, but you will see a response that comes out, which can be inspected in tools like SAML developer tools, which I will show you, and then there is no encryption of the SAML response, and there are no SAML groups. To begin the first thing first, we have a uh, application that we need to create in the Okta account. So this is my Okta account. I have created using GitHub. You can also create using your username and password or your Google account. Since I already have the Google account created, I created using GitHub. There is one downside when you do that, but I will talk about it when I come to it. Now, as you see, there is a this particular SAML app project you will be creating, and you will to explain the diagram. You will first create this trust relationship between the Okta SAML identity provider and the dummy Python application. Now, so what is this dummy application? So this dummy application is nothing but if you look into this course material, you will see that that there is a course zip file called SAML dummy app. You have to go to there and then run this command Python minus m HTTP server, and then in another endpoint, if you hit the curl command, it will throw the response, which is a very basic response. So this is the SAML service provider. This CJ bin, if you see this dummy app, it inside has a CJ bin. It is a very simple Python HTTP server that will throw spit some response like this, right? Okay. Now let me go through the application, and then I will show you walk you through the configuration that is required to to configure the IDP part of it, right? So now you have things like single sign-on URL. So single sign-on URL is nothing but the IDP, the service provider URL itself, and the recipient URL is also the same. So it's a destination URL. The audience restriction or audience field is the entity ID for the service provider, which is constructed as a unique field. Entity IDs are very unique when it comes to SAML, and you have one entity ID for the application itself, and one entity provider for the IDP. So this is the unique entity ID for the application or the service provider. And the default relay state means that whenever a user is in at a certain page and he logs in, he goes through the SAML authentication. He has to be displayed a certain, he has to redirect it to the same page. So else it will give a feeling if you go to the home page, then it will not give a nice feeling to the user. So that is why you have a relay state. For now, we are keeping the relay state here as empty. And as you see, uh, this signature algorithm is RSA SHA 256 and digest is also 256. And again, as I mentioned before, the assertion encryption, it is unencrypted. And you have a Honor force authentication of yes. There are two fields which I have configured, which is the username, first username, and then the user dot last name. These you will find in the SAML assertions. Again, assertions means in SAML terms, or also known as SAML tokens, which again is borrowed terms in things like OIDC or OIDC, right? So these values are available, and you have the ACS URL, which is the assertion consumer service URL, which is nothing but this particular URL, right? And then from this URL, you also have to configure everything, and then there is a finish because I've already completed the configuration. So that's a finish button, and then once you finish it, you will have to go to the next step, where you will have a metadata which you can view. So the metadata will look like this. I will come back to the metadata, but after that, you also have to assign users. So you will be assigning the user, which is the user by which I created my the GitHub account where I have created it. So I have this user. Uh, then let me come back to the metadata. So the metadata has an entity ID. Like I said, I mentioned the entity ID for the application, which is the audience field. So this also, the identity provider itself also has an entity ID, which is this particular field. Then you also have want authentication request signed as false is there, and then you also have the public certificate itself is encoded along with the metadata, and you also have the name ID formats, which is unspecified, and email address. Email address is the default, and you have two bindings. So HTTP post and HTTP redirect bindings. So both are, you see, the values are the same. SAML has two different ways by which you can send a request to it. One is HTTP post method, and the other is the HTTP redirect method. Now, you may be asking why you need. Okay, now in addition to this, in addition to this, now coming back to the process for part of it. So you see that you have a user, and the user is invoking the identity provider, and the identity provider doesn't know about this user, so he opens a uh, page where he logs in. So once he logs in, it connects with the directory service and then finds the user. If everything is okay, it sends back to the ACS URL. So ACS URL, like I mentioned before, ACS URL is nothing but this particular URL. So this particular URL is nothing but the dummy application, which will show the dummy page, which I showed right here. This one, this dummy page, it will display on the screen. So this is the entire demo. So before that, you need the request, right? You need to send the request to the user. So sending request to the user means that first you need to have a you need to have a request template, right? So you this is the request template, and I have modified the request template by adding the ACS URL, the IDP SSO URL, then some unique generated ID, and then the SP entity ID. So this looks like this. So this particular URL has to be encoded, and then it has to be URL. There also has to be URL encoding of it. So there is a website where you can quickly do this decode encode part, and also you can verify the signatures, which is something some additional thing which I will deal with later. So this particular uh, site which does this is called samltool.com. In this tool, if you see this uh, this particular SAML request, what I need to do is I should be doing a base 64 encoding. So I will do a base 64 encoding and deflate and encode XML. So if you see that this is all in binary format, and if you see this is this is an encoded XML. So this XML is not escaped. So encoding it's an encoded, but it's not URL encoded. So for doing that, you need to do URL encoding. So you copy the entire string and then go to URL encode decode, and then URL encode decode this, right? So once you do this, you copy this data. So this particular data is nothing but the data which I have already here. So I've already copy pasted the data. So this particular data will be my request, which is the encoded data that I will be sending through the HTTP methods, right? Now, how will I send it? So before sending it, you have to make sure that you are logged out of Okta. So I mentioned earlier that there is one downside if you sign in with GitHub. I will show you that part. Now, there is one developer tool called um, it is called SAML devtools. If you install the SAML devtool, you can find that you will find the SAML tab, which will show you the SAML response. So I'll come to that. But we already have the encoded the SAML which we want to send. So this is the SAML which we want to send. So let me open a new browser and then let me invoke this. So now it is asking me to sign in. So because I have signed in with GitHub, I will go into GitHub. So I'm signing into GitHub. The downside which I said is when you use this GitHub based account, it doesn't show you the response, which the response should be this particular SAML, but instead it gives you the admin page of Okta. So to do that, you again copy paste the same SAML request, and at this time, if you see, you can see the SAML assertion. Now, if you do Control Shift I, you can see the SAML URL again. Let me just copy the URL and then I will show you this particular service provider URL has been hit, and you see the SAML response which is shown to the user. So this is all, and you also have the relay state information. So this is all is about this POC. So thank you so much. Bye.